going on, guys? Welcome back to episode 3 of Xorus Media. Today we've got a heated topic for you guys.
Yeah, we got a big topic, bro. So right now, the government is currently threatening Google, even though they say it's the opposite way around. They're threatening Google with having to give them the Google code, or else Google won't be able to operate as it is now.
They won't be able to operate in Australia.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So what's happening is big media companies have teamed up with the government, Australian government, and Scott Morrison, to pass through a law that
makes Google actually have to pay the media companies that are advertising on them. So like, you know, when you look up on Google 9 News, articles come up, 9 News wants Google to pay them, right? And so basically the problem with this is that if Google doesn't agree, which it's currently not, they're saying they don't want to do that, they're going to stop operations in Australia. So
they don't want to give them the algorithm code.
Yeah, that's right.
They were ready to do it, like to pay them, but when they heard about the algorithm code, they said no, we're not going to do that.
That's right. So the code is essentially what the code is it's the technicalities between how to actually post your Google ad on Google and for it to get clicks. Our media business specializes in those Google ads and stuff. Yeah. So we know how it works, right? But we don't understand the code, right? Like we don't have the code. But what they want is they want the code. They want the algorithm to understand how they can do that, so that no matter what you look up, it will always take you to their site. And
see, like when we post our YouTube videos, we have to find the right words to put in our title.
That's right.
The right hashtags to use to get our video to you guys.
Yeah, that's right.
But if we had the algorithm code, we'll just have to post that and it'll do its thing.
Yeah, it'll do itself.
And everyone that opens YouTube will literally see our video at the top.
That's right. Yeah. So as it stands right now, so Silva, who is a representative she's a Google Australia managing director. Her name is Mel Silva. She said that if the version of the code would become law, it would give us no real choice but to stop making Google search available in Australia. So if the code, the algorithm, is given to these businesses and to the media companies that Scott Morrison is pushing for, then Google will not do it, and as a result, they'll leave Australia. And Scott Morrison, who replied to this, said, "Australia makes our rules for things you can do in Australia. That's done in our parliament. People who want to work with that in Australia, you're very welcome, but we don't respond to threats." And I find it so ironic that he's the one talking about victims, when if this was to happen, if Google really was to pull out of Australia because they don't want to give up their code, then small businesses will die.
He has nothing to lose. Scott Morrison has nothing to lose.
He's not a small business owner. No, he doesn't understand it, you know. And this is really when we start to see that news articles and these pushes in government randomly, right? Like random pushes in government are influenced. It doesn't come out. Scott Morrison didn't wake up today and was like, you know what? Today I'm going to make sure that big giant tech companies make sure they get paid more by Google. No.
He's
influenced. He's getting paid, or he's being sent letters, or he's being voted for in parliament as a result of these things. He's trying to get people on his side. Yeah.
He's getting something in return.
There's no way he's doing it alone. And I think that's really important that people know that, and know that news articles are very much controlled by the government, and they are literally trying to report objective news, but at the same time they're pushing forward their opinions. They are far left or far right. You see this in America. One news article is against Trump and they'll report everything against Trump. The other news article is for Trump, they'll report everything that's for Trump. And it's like, this can't happen, you know. It's not good, and it's brainwashing the people that are watching these videos, you know. Like, you're Australian, right? You're in Australia. You should want to have your opinion heard, you know. Like, he says, oh, you know, we have a parliament, we make laws, blah, blah, blah. Parliament was made for us because we are democracy, a representative democracy who's meant to represent what we want. There are more small businesses in Australia than there are digital tech companies, as Scott Morrison, you know, said.
Exactly. Yeah. And he's not taking in our views. He's not
taking in our views. He's meant to represent us. We don't, we care about what he thinks, right? But for the vast majority of people, we voted people in because we live in Thomastown, right now. So Thomastown representative, right? The people that, like the person that represents
we voted them in because we want them to take into account what we want as well.
Yeah, that's right. Like we want
that's
their
what they
opinion.
promised
Yeah.
us.
Yeah. So it's like, why do we vote people in if they're not representing us? How can we say we are Australian representative democracy if we're not being represented? You know, and this is important to us because our whole business is built off helping other small businesses. Without Google ads, without Facebook ads, without any of these things, how can small businesses operate? How can these businesses? We don't have access to like the worldwide TV. You know
what will happen?
Yeah.
They'll go back to the old
search
ways.
Yeah.
They'll go back to advertising on these media companies.
Yeah.
So paying 9 years, 7 years to feature an
No,
ad of
no, bro. You know what they'll start doing?
Quite expensive.
Yeah.
Like small businesses cannot afford that.
Yeah.
That's why there's Google ads. That's why
that's
there's
true.
Facebook ads.
That's true.
Because they're affordable advertising, even though it doesn't get
Like the most,
but it
It
gets
helps.
you what you need, and it targets the audience for your business, not everyone.
Yeah, that's right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And like this is important because they're literally impeding upon your research. Like, you know when you open up, like you're going to open up Chrome, right? Because most people use Chrome nowadays.
Yeah.
And you accidentally open Firefox or Internet Explorer, and it comes up with like the seek search bar, right? You're like, what is this, man? It's on Google. Are you gonna close it and you're gonna go to Google, right?
Yeah.
It's because Google reflects the most effective, most important, most knowledgeable information to your search. So if you're searching about Nelson Mandela, right? You expect the closest resource to Nelson Mandela, like his cousin, for example. He makes an article about Nelson Mandela. You want to know about that. You don't want to know about some person in Australia that wrote about it. But right now, if someone gets the code,
it's going to be some Aussie with
it's going to be some Aussie, bro. He's going to have a VB in his hand. He's going to be writing about Nelson Mandela. He doesn't even know who Nelson Mandela is. You know, it's messed up, man. And it's like, what are we doing about it? You know, why are so many people quiet about this? These small businesses, they just came out of being destroyed from coronavirus. You know, on the hands of Daniel Andrews.
The thing is, I'm not sure about this, right? But from what I'm thinking is, do these small businesses even get notified
of these things?
Like, yes, it's on the news and stuff, but who watches the news these
days?
days?
Nowadays, who wakes up in the morning and goes and watches the news?
Yeah.
Honestly, it doesn't happen now.
So, like, I don't think, like, 60% of these small businesses would not know a thing about what's happening
That's right.
with Google and our government. So I reckon we need you guys to push this video.
Yeah, push this video.
Or pass on the information that you get from this.
Yeah, that's right.
If you know someone that has a small business, let them know what's happening.
Like, this is super important.
Because when this happens, right? When Google says, okay, I'm done.
We're not
out of Australia.
Yeah, that's it. We're done.
You know what happens? An opportunity for a new search engine.
That's right, yeah.
But that's going to take some time.
And these search engines, there's a reason, bro. It's not by chance or by money or by time that Google is the top search engine. It's been there since I was born, since you were born, probably since everyone that was watching was born, you know? So it's like, they are good. They have been efficient. They have helped researchers. Like, I study law. I use it to get to legal research articles and all those types of things, you know? So it's like, if it was to go and another search engine would take its place, would it have the same effectiveness, you know?
I don't think so.
I honestly don't think so either. Because if it would, then why wouldn't it overtake Google now?
But sometimes we say that, but then something
better might arise.
So you never know.
Yeah, but come on, you have to understand Google are business owners as well. You know, they're not small business, they're a big business, they're global, they're wide, they're billionaires by now. Billionaires even.
If you look at it, they don't really need Australia.
They don't, yeah, that's the thing.
Because what's Australia? We're 23 million people in Australia.
Compared to all the other countries of the world.
Say like 17 million use Google. They don't really need us.
They don't need us, that's right.
If they give Australia that algorithm code, then other countries gonna start saying, okay, so if you're
giving the code to Australia, who have less people than America, who probably has way more.
Why not us?
Why not us? Exactly. And so Google has this integrity, this honest reputation that they've had with these countries for so long.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere, Australia is saying, you know what, we're going to make laws that make sure you guys pay us more, and we want the code. Not only do they want more money, but they want the code. The code is the monopoly on the marketplace. If you have the code, there's no more sharing revenue, there's no more sharing customers, there's no more targeting customers. You get the customers and that's it. Yeah. There's no in between, you know? And as good it is for giant tech companies, there's going to be more damage than advantages done, and that's 100%.
It'll have damage on small businesses as well. That happens.
That's what I'm saying. Like it'll have advantages on these giant tech companies, but disadvantages on these small businesses. And there's so many small businesses that will do more damage than good to anywhere if you rate them up. If you compare.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, it's an interesting topic, and we thought, shout out to Amir, one of our fans who actually requested this. We were going to talk about it anyway, but it's good to know we have open-minded fans who are actually keeping track of this stuff, because this stuff affects us. Our whole business. The reason why we started this is to help other small businesses.
Yeah.
Like we represent other businesses. We advertise for them. If we don't have something to advertise for, if Facebook no longer is an ad place, if Google is no longer an ad place, and YouTube starts to follow through soon, right? What do we have? We won't even have these episodes anymore.
We'd have TikTok. We'd have LinkedIn. We'd have Instagram. But you need YouTube. Like, you go home, you go on YouTube. You sit down to eat. When you're back from work, you want to watch who you like to watch. But
even before that, like putting aside YouTube and everything, right? If I was to go next door to the milk bar, right, who has been there for 50 years or more, right, through different families or whatever, and I was to tell them that they can't share their business on Google Maps, they can't share their business as Google Ads, do you think they're going to be happy? Do you think they're going to be alright with it? No. And that's why we make this video, because there are some people who don't know how important this will be for their business,
100%.
So it's like, we have to make sure that everyone knows about this, and it's really taking away our freedom as Australians. Looking like in research and in everything, we're really being stripped of our freedom, and
that's what really pisses me off.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
because we have a say. They say we have freedom.
That's right. They mention parliament, right?
When all this is happening without our choices.
Without our consent, and it's so obvious. Like, we don't have facts about this. Of course, this is all under the rug, but it's so obvious that all these giant tech companies like 9 News, ABC, SBS, all these companies, they have influence upon law. Like, think about that for a second. People with money have influence over making things mandatory. What if the big businesses start to go more than that? What if big businesses say, you know what, you're no longer allowed to go to Kmart because they don't help the government. You have to go through Coles. Like that's kind of where it is. It's not there, but it'll be on this way. Things evolve. Like, we want to evolving the other way. We want evolving in freedom. We want small businesses to rise up because they're putting more effort into their content, and their content is actually what we care about over big giant tech companies.
To be honest, this whole thing shouldn't even be happening.
It shouldn't.
Because what happens throughout years? What were people like? Were there cars like 600 years ago?
No.
There were horses. There were donkeys. Now there's cars. So we evolved.
Yeah, that's right.
So news was back then. Now it's social media.
That's right.
We're evolving.
We're evolving.
What these big media companies, these news companies needed to do is not cheap shot Google to get the algorithm code. They need to find ways to adapt in the new market with the new competitors. They need to develop new ways to get their content
and all that stuff.
Which
like they could develop a new search engine.
They are putting their content on Facebook, on YouTube, and all that. But if you want to be at the top, you gotta fight for it. You gotta work for it.
You gotta work for it.
That's how this big company.
That's how Google became Google.
They work for it. They didn't just sit down and say,
that's it. We made a search engine, but it's not going to be the biggest. We're just going to hope on it, and it became These guys worked hard. They grabbed the information. If they're so concerned with Google's monopoly upon the search engine market, why not make another search engine? If Google isn't that important, they can risk losing it. Why not make another search engine? They can't. They really can't.
They can.
But
it's
can
not
it be
going to
as
get
good?
to the level.
Can it be as good? That's the question.
Because the Google code algorithm is a secret recipe.
Yeah, that's it. Like SpongeBob SquarePants, bro. The secret recipe. It's literally like that. Once you have that, you're guaranteed customers. There's no more effort. There's no more putting in videos. Oh, I'm gonna write hammer to make sure I get the building industry. No, you write your video. and you have the code, so you code it specifically to go to whoever you want.
So when you get in bed and you want to watch some YouTube and you open YouTube, all you're gonna see is news.
News, that's it. You're not gonna see what you want to see. You're not gonna see what you actually search for.
No, there will be other videos, yeah. Like
of course, but they'll show lower.
But that's gonna be like you have to like
Scroll.
search, like I don't know if you know this, but when you watch videos, YouTube starts showing you the videos that are similar to the ones
you're watching. Recommended. Yeah.
Yeah, but what YouTube's gonna start recommending, if the algorithm is taken by the news agencies here, is all news.
It's all news. That's right. Yeah.
And you know what? I was reading an article, right? And the up and coming news companies actually said, we don't want the Google algorithm.
Yeah.
We just want to get paid.
Yeah, that's
fair
right.
enough.
Yeah, that's
like
fair.
they're doing the work.
They're doing the work, and Facebook's posting them, and they get them viewers.
Google has to pay for that. Like it's their work.
Yeah, that's right.
Because Google's making money from that, but they're posting it. But like the big companies, they got greedy.
Yeah, they got greedy. They want not only more money, but they want the code. And it's like, why should Google give up everything they've worked for? This whole technical code, and the code's obviously like an algorithm is in the computer, right? It's the way people search bar works, right?
Yeah.
So why would they give it up to giant tech companies who aren't even that good? Like they're good in that everyone knows them, but they've gotten to the point where they're pushing forward so many opinions that you can't call it objective news anymore. It's no longer objective. It's who's giving them the most money, who's influencing their opinion the most, you know? And all these small businesses, right? All these small media businesses, they're efficient. And the reason we speak about them is because they're hard-working people who are putting their objective opinion. They're really making what news you're meant to hear, not what they want you to hear, but rather what you should hear. Do you understand? Like, there's a difference between what you need to hear and what you should hear. What you should hear is like what their opinion want. What you need to hear is this. This is the time.
Now, these businesses, they're paying taxes, of course, right?
Yeah.
So they should at least have it, like, the government should at least let them know. You know, I don't know if that's happened, right? But I don't think all these small businesses know what's happening.
That's right, and
because I don't think that they would understand that, like, because this is all technical. This is all technical.
That's right. You have to be experienced. Like, we obviously are in the industry, so we understand how bad. Like, we understood before it happened how bad coronavirus was going to affect business. So we understand how bad it's going to be in the long term. People see an article, Google threatens, they don't think that much of it. But this is people trying to represent you, and they're not representing you right. How could you sit there and let it happen? Yeah, so we're in the media industry, so we understand that, we know other business owners and how they were affected before Corona, and we knew how Corona was going to affect people. So it's like, why is Scott Morrison not representing the majority of Australia? Australia was built off these small businesses.
Yeah.
All these big Australian businesses, they didn't start big, man.
No.
They didn't become millionaires the day after they registered the business. The next day they lived in a mansion. No, they worked for years upon years, making content that people wanted and really working for the customer rather than for themselves. And that's why they got to where they want to be. And now, because there's so many of them, Scott Morrison forgets what built Australia from the bottom, Business is survival of the fittest. That's right.
You gotta add to your competitor to get to the top.
That's right.
But this is not.
But
it's not right. It's not right.
Like, that's a huge point. Like, the whole thing about Australia is it actually wants competition. That's why there's the consumer watchdogs. You know what consumer watchdogs are? They're the ones that look over certain contracts, and if the contracts are too big, so if Coles makes such a big contract that came up won't be looked at anymore, then it gets cancelled by the consumer watchdogs. So they're also encouraging competition, right?
Of course,
They're encouraging competition. How does this encourage competition in any way? How can a small business making news articles compete with 9 News, who is coming up at the top of every search bar? How? It can't happen. They have access to the code. What if they have competitive, what if they have a really strong competitor and they're like, you know what, we're going to ruin it for them. We're going to change their code to change it to be better for us. And
but they wouldn't be able to do that.
I mean, we don't know.
The law doesn't allow for that to happen.
Well, we don't know. We don't know how much of the code they're going to give. If they give the code only for themselves, or they give the code of all of Google, we don't know.
There's things we don't know.
There's a lot of things we don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know how Google works with other countries as well. Maybe Australia found out something that we don't.
Yeah. So Google is paying off the media agencies in France.
Oh,
and
okay,
they
right.
deal with that.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's
Australia,
here,
so
and
inside of them, right? But yeah, I mean, regardless of what their interests are, the number one important thing in this world are small businesses. These are hard-working families, people who have been working since they were young to now, uplifting these businesses, all taken in a day, you know? And although it won't be that quick, you know, like Google ads aren't just going to die out of nowhere, but if this passes,
like,
it's going to happen.
Even though Google steps out, there's still, I mean, Facebook is in the coming, like the government wants Facebook.
Facebook, same thing, yeah.
But we'll see, like if Google's out, there's Facebook, there's TikTok. TikTok is a huge
marketing
like app right now. There's Snapchat, there's Instagram. There's just a lot of like more ways for the businesses, but it just takes people who are knowledgeable in this like sector to help these businesses get back to where they were.
Yeah,
and that's where we step in. But it will.
Yeah, like we're built off building up other small businesses. How do we build up other small businesses if they don't have a platform to build on? You know, like how it seems like the government cannot look past the influence that they have. Like when they get influenced by big industries, they can't look past it to look at Australians. How can we call ourselves a representative democracy if we're not representing what Australians actually want, bro?
I know.
You know, like
it's funny when you think about it.
It's crazy. Like how are we representing? What are you representing for us? If everyone is meant to be equal before the law, right? That's a principle that's upheld in law and everywhere, right? If everyone is meant to be equal before the law, criminal, innocent, broke, poor, business owner, non-business owner, how come these giant tech companies have more influence upon Scott Morrison's opinions than us? We are the ones who raised Australia, you know.
I like that,
And we're young, so we're the upcomers, right? And everyone watching this video, there's gonna be young people, young aspiring small business owners. It's gonna want to stray them away. Why would you want to be in a small business position right now? You'd rather just work for a giant tech company and you'll never want to become your own boss. And I think that's like horrible. What are they enforcing? What do they want from Australians? Do they want to uplift them or do they want to degrade them?
They have an agenda and they're following it.
And they're following it. That's it. If everyone is equal before the law, right? Criminal, innocent, broke, poor, business owner, non-business owner, why are Scott Morrison's opinions only being influenced by those who have the most money? That's not representative, you know, and it's not upholding what Australians are. And I really think that this is important for people to know because they're representing you. Like you guys are a part of this, and people that are watching this video right now, right? They could be young, they could be aspiring business owners. Why would they want to start a small business? Why? Why would you want to start a small business if in the flash of an eye, the media can influence you, laws that are made upon you, which are made mandatory? You know, why would you want to do that? You'd rather just work for a digital tech company and be someone else's worker. But I hate that because Australia should be uplifting people. It should be motivating people to become their own boss. You know, why would you want to work for someone your whole life?
That's the thing. I don't think people like paying attention to what the news was saying about this whole fight between Google and the government.
That's right.
Would understand that this affects small businesses.
That's right. Like,
but it actually does.
It does, and it has long-lasting effects. These aren't effects that are going to happen overnight. No. These are effects that will stay with small businesses forever.
You're not going to see that straight away. You'll see it.
You'll see it gradually. Yeah, that's right. Just like how coronavirus. Like right now, it seems like all the businesses are back to normal, but you guys don't see behind the scenes how many losses businesses took, how many sacrifices they had to make, how many people changed industries because they couldn't afford to stay within their own industry, you know?
100%.
And for Scott Morrison now to come out with this and risk Google, which is the number one, like you said, it's cheap, it's efficient, it works, number one thing to be removed. Is he thinking about us? Is he thinking about any small business at all? No, I honestly don't think he is.
He doesn't know. He doesn't know, like, this is not his field to
it's within his legislation.
Yes,
he's allowed to.
It's a law. It's passing through, but he should like know more about it before
makes like such a big
like,
decision.
Don't get me wrong, maybe he knows, maybe he has other plans for these businesses, which we might not know of. But it's just.
But as it stands, it doesn't look good.
It doesn't look good,
And you know, Scott Morrison didn't wake up one day, right? Like he didn't wake up today and was like, you know what? Nah. Today I'm gonna make Google Pay like digital tech company. No, it doesn't work like that. What happened was probably from the article what was mentioned, ABC, SBS, and 9 News probably came together and really made an influence through ways that we don't know, right? Through ways that we don't know, really made an influence on Scott Morrison to drop laws. And this is super important. Even aside from all of this, why can people with big money and big industries influence laws? Laws are meant to be made for the good peace of everyone. That's what laws are made for, you know? You're not meant to kill people because you want to keep the world peaceful.
Keep everyone peaceful,
So laws are made for that. And why can someone who doesn't have that interest in their mind be influencing these laws? That means one day, right? And this obviously, like, this is thinking ahead a bit, but we don't know. Coles can make a big contract with the government and influence them to make a law that you could only shop from Coles and you can't shop from Kmart anymore. You know, imagine if that was to happen. Of course, it's not realistic right now. But if things are evolving in the way of businesses influencing laws, then where does it take us in the next few years?
That's how it's like the news. They talk to the government, said this is that, this is what we want. So the government's saying it's either this or it's that. So when Google pulls out, you don't have access to YouTube. You have access to news.
That's it.
It's
and they just don't care. So we want to leave you with this. If you are watching this video and you think this is an important topic, which it should be if you've ever tried to be a small business owner or you care about any of the Australians who have been small business owners their whole life, okay? If you care about this video, please make sure you share, follow, like, and share it to everyone. Show it to everyone. We want to get this video out there for the other businesses who will need the help, you know? Small businesses aren't being notified of how big there is. Maybe
we're talking on behalf of our clients.
That's right.
Like, we don't want our clients to suffer because they've already suffered enough.
That's right. They've gone through enough. So this quote really dictates everything I've said today. So you are the creator of your own future. You decide your destiny. Not me, not the government, not the laws.
That just gave me goosebumps.
Literally, bro. Like, it's true, you know? Like, you look around the world around you, sometimes there's things you can't control. These are not one of these things. We are a representative democracy and we've been that for thousands of years. If we want to keep this way, people have to stand up.
Australia's 400 years old.
Hundreds of years. We have been a representative democracy for hundreds of years. We don't want to lose that. That's what makes us Australians are different from all the other countries, you know? And we want people to know this, so make sure you understand that watching this video is not only what you got to do. Go call your representative. Go make a letter to Parliament. Do what you can to influence this. Because if this was to go through, which I think it will, because Google, I think they're going to stand their ground. They have thousands of countries. They don't need us at the moment. We need them. So if you want to stand your ground, make sure you do so now before you lose control of what's important. And that's it for us. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you check out all of our socials. We got Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, you name it, we got it. And follow, subscribe, chuck them post notifications on, because every time we post a video, I want you guys to be notified so you can be the first one to see it. And comment down below. Let us know what you guys want us to talk about next. Thank you again to Emil for requesting this.
Alright.
Anything else you got?
That's it.
That's it. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Take care.
Take care.